it's Micah. Sorry I couldn't get to the phone right now, but I'll call you back as soon as I can. Bye.
Please leave a message after the tone.
Hello, it's Brooke. Pick up. I've got so much to tell you. Anyway, call me back. Love you.
Well, how's it going?
I've been better, Carrie Ann.
I'm so sorry. That was so good.
I haven't opened anything since pretty much the last 2 weeks. I don't think we've recorded in 2 weeks.
No, it's been rough. It's been rough out here in these streets.
Are you still medicated? Are you high right now, or are you?
I was medicated, let's see. So my day after surgery, I was like, I'm good. I don't need anything else. Fabulous. Took medicine that first day. And I was like, you know what? I think I could just do over-the-counter stuff from here on out. I went back to work for a day. It was bad.
Just at a desk?
Yeah, I just did desk work and I felt really pressured. They made it seem like I had to come back right away. And I was like, okay, no big deal. Like, I'll just sit at the desk and prop my leg up and blah, blah, blah. And it was horrible, which sounds stupid because I'm like sitting down all day. But like, I just couldn't get my leg comfortable. I would get hot and then I would get cold and I needed ice and I couldn't go get my own ice because it's all upstairs. I can't go up the stairs.
Yeah, but without context, you had friggin' knee surgery.
Yeah.
You got sliced open. You got scalpeled.
It was like a scope, so it wasn't super serious. Like, it wasn't like my ACL reconstruction. They just cleaned some stuff up and then they had to like sew my meniscus back down and then he did some fancy junk to my MCL and and I was feeling really great. I told him this is
surgery.
Yeah, but I told him like this is the best I felt after surgery. And then around like day 3, I had a delayed allergic reaction, and the skin prep they used is not the same skin prep that they used 10 years ago when I first had knee surgery. And I'm allergic to the new one. So
did you not know that until like why would your body not react until 3 days later?
It's like a weird, I don't really know. I had a rash literally, well, I still have it, from the top of my thigh all the way down to my ankle. And just think of the worst, like think of poison ivy covering the entire surface area of your leg.
It's almost like those heat rashes.
Any hoodles. I got on the bike.
Really?
Yes, because I can do the bike with no resistance and I can walk. I just can't bend my leg yet with weight. So I'm working on range of motion. So I'm able to
do like the full, like you can do a full like extension on a bike, right? Like pedal.
I'm so proud of it, but it hurt so bad the next day. So I did use some drugs, not yesterday, but the day before.
I don't think we ever prefaced this with the fact that you didn't know your leg was broken for like...
Yeah, I don't know if we've ever talked about
that. How long?
Yeah, I broke my fibula and I tore my meniscus and I had no idea. I think that was September.
Was it just September?
Maybe the end of September. I found out that I broke it in October when I finally went to the doctor.
Wow, I feel like that's been forever.
That's my updates. No drugs today.
No drugs.
So, what's new with you?
Dude, I don't even know where to begin.
I'm only laughing because I'm uncomfortable, not because anything's funny. There's nothing funny. I'm just very uncomfortable.
I know, I'm uncomfortable too. You remember that thing we talked about where you're like, other people's emotions are uncomfortable? Remember when we talked about grief 2 weeks ago before we knew that we should have talked about grief? That's where I'm at right now.
We do remember that.
I feel like my skin's like...
When you're like, you don't know what to do.
So I'm single. And it's either laugh or cry at this point, but I've cried so much for the past... We're about 2.5 weeks out now. And I...
Get it out. Just get it out. You know?
We started this whole podcast where we were both home with our parents last season. And then...
Look at us now.
By sheer happenstance, look at us now. I am back at my parents' house. They moved a few months back to a kind of different area, still close by, but I got everything pretty much packed up and moved out within the last 24 hours. Packed up slowly but surely over the past 2 weeks, and really, really thought that I was going to be able to like find that thing, because now I'm back on my van life, RV. I want to do that whole thing, and I had been looking for something every single day to go see, and there were two models that I was so close to signing on both times, and it just didn't work out. And the last one didn't work out yesterday when I moved all of my stuff in. So it's been, I don't think I've ever cried or hurt or been so emotionally exhausted as I have been the past 2.5 weeks.
I feel you. I feel you.
And then I went to the grocery store this morning and I thought I was doing great. Like, I have moments like this where I can laugh and whatever and go about my day, and then it hits me like a freight train. Where we were living was basically 30 minutes from where my parents are now, down the same road. And our grocery store is down that same road. So I just absentmindedly just like turned my music on when I was done at the store and headed back down towards the house. It was just like 2 or 3 minutes while I was just listening to the song, and I realized the direction I was going. And when I made the U-turn, I think it was like, I think I U-turned and then I think a rib broke or something, because I just lost it all again. So it's little things like that, which I know you know this, and I hate that you know.
I do. And I wish that both of us didn't know this, but
I hate that you know this. Very different situations, but I remember this being you.
yes. It's really strange, honestly. Like, it's really weird.
I
It
feel
kind of
back, and I think my screen's dirty. Dude, I don't know. I don't even know what to do right now.
So I don't know if I'm allowed to put this in here, but what was like the deciding factor?
So it's fine. I think it actually helps me to talk about it, and I can pretty much tell the whole story now without.
It wasn't like a scandal. It wasn't like,
No, it wasn't a scandal. It was the most mature, healthy breakup that I have ever experienced in my life, and I haven't experienced that many. So this is my first, like, this was the relationship that I thought was it for me, which is the hardest part. But I never understood when people said, okay, well, we're just on separate paths right now. And I was like, okay, well, that's idiotic, because you couldn't have figured that out like a year ago, for people that are together like 7-8 years, and they're like, okay, well, we just want different things right now, or we're on different paths. And after going through the breakup that I'm going through now, I finally understand it, at least to some extent, because the truth is that a lot of personal things I think came out within the last month or so that weren't new or shocking or surprising, but just, I think in the last month, were faced head on. And I think there was a lot of growth, but I think he needed time and space to figure out what he wanted that had absolutely nothing to do with me. It's the cliche of like, if you're not happy with yourself, roundabout as that sounds, you can't love somebody else as much as you want to, or as much as maybe you do love them, but it's just not enough at some point. We split almost 3 weeks ago, I think, at this point. And every day since was full of a lot of conversations, none of them bad, none of them angry or bitter, or definitely sad, definitely heartbreaking. But one, I think the biggest thing, which if you're someone listening to this and you're not a faithful person, it's not going to make sense. But when you believe what we believe, faith was a huge part of it too. I know that God wants a closer relationship with me, and I am getting there, but it's just become very clear that my priority hadn't been God. And it was really the same thing with him. We were at the point where, we were talking about getting married and talking about getting engaged and had a ring and had things planned out, but the action never followed through. And that was hard for me to kind of grapple with. The biggest factor in it is that, one, we both know that we shouldn't have been living in the house together before we were married or before we had that official commitment. Nobody cheated, it was nothing like that. But just for us, it was about, if you're going to say you believe what you believe, you can't, one, be a hypocrite on it, and two, I think the work behind faith is obedience, right? It's not that there's blame or fault on one person or another. There have been a lot of apologies. There's been a lot of conversations about promises that weren't necessarily kept, or hope that was kind of given to certain situations that on both ends, we just were kind of biding time and being like, okay, well, yeah, of course we're going to be together. So why does it matter, But I know it's the right thing to do. It's just, we had talked about ideas for a wedding or what we wanted to do or where we would go together, where we wanted to live when we were 60, and kids that we could have had. And he already had a daughter, so that was a huge factor in us being so close to begin with, which from personal experience, but it's very different when there's already a child involved. It just elevates and intensifies every emotion that you can feel, especially when you're so close to the child involved and so involved with each other's families. And so it's been really hard. And in the meantime, I have kind of some plans of what I want to do. The whole van or RV thing, that's what I want. And I thought by the time we recorded the next podcast, I thought I was going to be recording it from a van or an RV, not from my parents' guest bedroom again. Everybody's really doing what they can and helping, and it's just not what I wanted. So just back at square one and starting over again, it's really tough. We'd taken breaks over the last 3 years, but it was always, okay, well, I'll call you tomorrow, or I'll come see you in 2 days. But this is very different in the sense that I know we both just need to figure out individually what God wants for both of us, and that wasn't going to happen living in a situation that He wasn't blessing. It's not that He wasn't in our lives or a part of it. It's just that, there's consequences for things when you do them out of order. It's not God being mean, and that's okay. I almost feel like breakups that are mutual and, respectful and cordial and full of a lot of love, I almost feel like they're worse than
It
just.
almost feels like this doesn't make sense.
It's like it doesn't.
Does.
Yes, that's a really good way to put it. It's like it doesn't make sense because it should be enough to just want to work it out. And there's a lot of different factors and a lot of situations that we talked through and talked about, and nobody was really at fault, but we both had ways that we kind of fell short on doing things the right way that we believe is the right way.
Yeah. And for my own nosiness, you said he's selling the house?
Mm-hmm.
So where is he going?
I don't know. And that's really tough. So
this is like a final quits?
yeah, for for the time being. I mean, we talked about that too, because when we'd taken breaks before for 2 or 3 weeks, maybe a month, it was always calling every single day and, hey, I miss you, and what do we need to work on, and trying to get it right. And I really thought we worked through a lot of it and we're gonna be fine no matter what. But there was a huge obstacle, I would say personal and financial, that was a huge contributing factor. And being in a house that wasn't fully ours, together, not married yet, and just feeling that pressure of living above our means in a lot of ways, I think it really, really took its toll. So something had happened and we sat down and had a conversation about it, and like 2 days later he sat down and he's like, I think that I'm not in a position where I can give you what you need, and you do deserve a lot better. It's horrible to hear because you're like, okay, one, who are you to tell me what I want? And two, why can't you just get, your shit together
Get it together. Yeah.
and give me what I do deserve? Like part of you runs through that in your head, but then when there's personal issues that you need to work through or figure out or deal with on your own, it's the first time that I feel like, okay, I can't handle that for you. I can't fix that for you. I can't even try to support you in fixing what you need to fix right now with family, with money, with everything that you're dealing with right now. He just said, I don't feel right staying here anymore, and I have no idea where I'm going to go. And I know that sounds kind of vague just saying it out loud, but it really all stemmed from we're in a place where we're not supposed to be, and we're living very comfortably. I read a Bible verse today from Job. I'm going to paraphrase, so I could get it wrong, but it basically said I was at ease, so God broke my heart to like bring about not a punishment again, but just to say like, hey, you need to recognize this isn't yours. This wasn't what I asked you to do. So when the house decided to go up for sale, we said we had a month until the end of February when the house was going to go up to figure out the living situation. About 2 weeks after that conversation, so give or take 2 or 3 days ago, he's like, I know that this sucks, and I don't, I know he didn't want me to feel pushed out. He's like, but I can't keep seeing you in the house if we're not together, and I can't keep letting things go back to a normal routine, and I need to figure out how to do this on my own again, and I need to figure out how to care for her on my own and take care of myself on my own and figure out all of these things that I need to figure out on my own, instead of seeing you in the morning and seeing you at night and not kissing you good morning and not kissing you good night and not sleeping in the same bed and not just these little things that he was
And
like,
I
it's,
think as much as you want to like hold on to what you had,
yeah,
like that's the healthiest thing is to just get out of there, have your own space.
which, everybody who's, I don't want to say on like my side or my team, but everybody who's close to me, right, hears that and they're like, okay, well, what a dickhead, like kicking out without any kind of notice. But it was more of just a conversation of like, hey, it's too hard to have you here, and I don't think that either one of us are going to get to where we need to be, where this could ever work again, if we just keep prolonging the same thing and staying in the same routine because it's convenient. And he was right, it's hard to explain that to people who care about you, and they're like, okay, well, that's, rude.
I was
Like,
like, Mom, I've told
I
Mom, and I said she needs to get all her shit and get out of there. I am so the opposite. I'm like such a firm. That's how I handle things. It's like if I need to move on, I gotta just kick
that
myself
is
in the rear
not
end and get myself moving on. I will pack up everything in a night and I will be
that
out
is
the door.
not me. I think I'm a processor. Like, I'm a grieving like processor. Like, I can't handle quick change. It does not sit right in my spirit. And so when we sat down initially and said, okay, we'll have a month to get things figured out, I was like, great, I can do that. It turned very quickly from like relationship to really, really strong like friendship. And it sounds crazy, but I could sob my eyes out. And he understood why I was upset. And so he'd be like, okay, what do you want to talk about? It wasn't affectionate or romantic or anything, but it's just like, tell me what you're upset about. And then I'd say, okay, well, I thought we were going to have this and this and this. And it's all gone, and you don't understand that I'm losing more than you are because you get to keep your family, and it was all these things that
Wow. How did he respond to those conversations?
really well.
Because that just blew my mind. Because I'm thinking like, wow, that's actually closure. That exists. That's real. You can really get closure from people.
Maybe I'm a closure person. Like,
Yeah.
I will not leave without closure. I'm
I'm
gonna be in
like,
your life until there's an ending to something. But it really did feel like it's okay. And at the end of it, it's like it's not that I don't love you. It's not that I wouldn't still sacrifice everything if I thought that that was the right move. if I wasn't in my clear mind to think, okay, it's not been working, obviously, to get us to the place where I wanted to be, which was married and popping out babies and getting a house and, all this kind of stuff that I was ready for. And he just wasn't ready for that. It's not that he didn't want it, it's just that he wasn't ready for it right now. And so to sit down and you have to look somebody in the eye and be like, okay, well, you're not ready for it, but then where does that leave me? Because then I get, the short end of the stick and I don't get to be with the person that I love and I don't get to be with the person I wanted all that with. And then I have to go start over again. And so it's like, I might as well be single for the rest of my life, And that's the point I'm at now.
I'm glad that you guys at least were able to have like those conversations.
And I will say he took, which I think is right, fully his to take, right? But he took a lot of responsibility for it, for things that he let slide or for things that he let me believe were coming very soon. And his biggest thing that I know he feels horrible about is not being a good leader. Just saying things to make me happy or saying things to ease my mind. And I was like, at the end of it, you can't just say things that ease people's mind if you're not going to follow through on it. Not knowing his backstory or how he grew up or family dynamic or anything in between, his biggest thing is that he holds a lot of guilt for things that he's done in the past and for, having a separate household for his daughter and a lot of deeply, deeply personal things that go back decades, right? Because he's in his 30s. I think one of the biggest signs that I knew we were doing the right thing was that I could look at him and say, I know you haven't heard it from a lot of people in your life, but like, you're forgiven from me for whatever we thought that we were going to have in the future. I wanted him to know that when we left, it's like, I'm not mad at you. I don't think of myself any less because it didn't work out with the guy I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with. My family has stepped up in a way that I don't think I was ever ready to have help in. Like, I don't like having help. I don't like crying in front of people. I don't like any of it. And the past 2.5 weeks, I have just let myself feel everything I need to feel and cry in front of whoever I want to cry in front of and get frustrated in moments and tell everybody what's on my mind and get mad and get sad. And I think that's the only reason that I could sit there 2 nights ago and say, when I walk out that door tomorrow, like, we're okay.
I don't know why, but I feel like I'm about to cry right now.
I know. Well, it's tough. It's like it'll be one thing tomorrow that triggers me and I'll just burst out crying. But for the most part, it's just because it's the right thing to do, it doesn't mean it's any less painful, but it does give you a peace about it, like moving forward. And I know that's what everybody has been praying around me. And it's not going to be easy and it's not going to be comfortable and it's not what you wanted. Part of me feels like, I'm like, okay, well, starting over at 26 was not part of my life plan. I was going to be a young mom. In my head, in my little noggin, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to be a young mom. I'm going to be married by 23. I'm going to have my first kid by 25. I'm going to be set. I think that's one of the hardest parts is having that, like being so close to that and that being your end goal of what you want is to just be a wife and a mom. And of course, I have things I want to do with our podcast and I have places I want to go see and all of that is beautiful and fun. But I feel like purpose-wise, that's really hard to mourn.
Yeah, I mean, this is not a hobby versus your life, your everyday life.
Right. And it's just, you get in your head.
Well, I can so relate to what you're feeling from a different perspective, but I mean, like, I was months away from graduating school, and we had agreed that I'm going to graduate school, and then we're going to be officially engaged, and then, like, life's going to get rolling. Months away from that, and then your whole life turns around, and you're like, okay, now what? What do I do with this?
And I can't figure out if, there's no easy way to go through it, but looking at our two situations, I can't figure out if it's easier to be betrayed and move on or if it's easier to still be in love with someone and be like, I love you so much. That stupid cliche saying, it's like, I love you, so I'll let you go.
But it's so real. It's so real.
I know there's a reason those stupid cliches are stupid cliches. It's because 99% of them are completely accurate. You love something, let it go. Sure.
I'll tell you from a friend perspective who has been along for this entire ride. I was so mad
I know.
when you messaged me like on a, I don't know, Friday or Monday or something, and you were just like, things aren't that great, and just pray for us.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this mofo. It took me so long to be a little okay with him after all of the stuff that happened in the beginning, and we don't have to revisit it, but I was not team him.
I know.
Very much not team him.
I
And then
know.
I'm just thinking like, dang, things were going so good, and
They really were. It
I
was.
really started to root for him, thinking things have turned around. And now the protective friend in me is like, good riddance, he wasn't for you, da da da. But also the friend in me is like, I hate to see you in this state. I hate that you have to experience this and go through this.
I don't know. It's so hard to. Because obviously everybody that loves me is just not furious, but they're just like.
Right. And none of us know your everyday conversations or the details of his life.
It really did come so out of. Not really out of the blue. It came from things that we were working on, but they were things that I thought that we were working on already under the covering of like, okay, we're good. Like if it didn't separate us before, there's no way with how strong we are right now that this is going to be, it's an issue, but we can work through the issue instead of
Like if
it being,
we've already worked through the hard things, we can work through these things.
yeah. And so being in such a good place and then it really just shifting over one conversation, it's like the straw that broke the camel's back. It just opened up like the floodgate. There was a lot of confusion and a lot of uncertainty about himself that bled over into just everything, I guess, that unfolded in the past. But I can't believe it's been, this is my first actual day. I took off work today just because I couldn't even, like the thought of getting up at 5 a.m. and then going like was normal. It just it was like fuzzy. I couldn't even think straight yesterday. And so it's my first day actually waking up in my parents' house, but it's a little over 2 weeks at this point that it's been, and it still will just bring me to my knees sometimes. Not here, because I'm not going to cry on camera, but yesterday we were so close to signing on an RV, which I just feel like it wasn't the one, but just walking out without it yesterday or without that kind of safety net of being like, okay, well, I can figure it out on my own then, if you're not going to take care of me, I can take care of myself kind of thing, just like that pride that you fight. And I got in the car and I just, it was like the waterworks came out. It's not even just, it wasn't walking out without the RV, or it was just sitting there thinking, I am so sad. That complete and utter, just there's nothing you can do about it kind of feeling is just so helpless. And it's so, then you want to cry and like throw a tantrum a little bit and you're like, why me and why this and why that, and it's just, it just is how it's supposed to go for the time being with choices that we made individually and together, but
Do you think maybe the world is giving you a sign? Maybe, as much as it hurts our pride, we need this time just to be with your family and not be by yourself and not be, because I think you were very quick to, which I did the exact same thing. I was like, let me find an apartment, let me find a place to live, let me be by myself. I can do it on my own. I lived by myself before. But looking back, like the time that I spent living here, which is ironic that I'm here today for filming, but like those months that I had with my family and with my mom were just so I don't know. I just needed it way more than I thought I would have needed it. And it was so nice to have that kind of, we're adults, but having that like safe place.
Yeah.
Like we know that we're safe here, we're taken care of here, and we're going to have food and we're going to have people that love us. And, you know,
Well, I think a big part of it too is that just with them being in the space that they're in and not having extra room, really, it was definitely part pride, but it was also, it broke my heart to be like an inconvenience to somebody
yeah,
again. It's not fair, like they shouldn't have to do that at my
yeah,
ripe old age of 26. That's never been something that was like, oh, okay, I feel that way because somebody's told me that. It was all in
yes,
my
yeah.
head, on I'm hurt and I'm single and I'm heartbroken and I lost the person that I wanted to live with and wanted to be with and was safe for me. And now it's humbling yourself enough to be like, okay, well, I have a place to lay down and honey has food, and that's all that matters. You don't need a lot of space. You just need somewhere to be like, okay, I'm good. I've got me, I've got my dog, we're healthy, my family's healthy, we're planning Rachel's wedding, which is like a conflict of emotions in and of itself.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm so happy for you, but also, I don't
Yeah.
believe in love anymore. So,
Oh, I kind of feel that. Lately, I've been like, God doesn't really promise me a husband. So maybe I should be okay with the idea that this is not going to happen.
we think we're like supposed to be married, and I do truly believe that if you have that desire in your heart, God's gonna bring your person to you, but we have this idea of like we're supposed to automatically be given a marriage or be given a husband or easily be able to have kids, and then you just sit there and you go, I'm not promised any of that. Like
Mhm.
that nothing brings me more joy. The idea of, okay, well, what is your problem, God? Like, why haven't you given me what what I asked for, right now? That's a terrifying thought to think of, but maybe this is the moment where he just wants me, for sure, but maybe you too, to just sit there and be like, I'm okay with if it's just me and
Mhm.
because I think that's where the most contentment and the most fulfillment come from. So if it's just me and you, we're gonna be okay.
Yeah. I
You
feel
don't
like when I was younger, I wanted to be a young mom and I wanted to be married and wanted to have kids and all of that. And now I'm just like, thank God I didn't.
I know.
I'm just not, I couldn't imagine how different my life would be. And of course, if you like become a mom, you're never ready until it happens and then you're ready, Like if it were to happen, I would make my life, ready.
Right.
But I'm just like, I don't even want to date people. Like, I don't have any of those desires right now. I don't know if it's because I genuinely don't have that desire or if God's like, I just want your attention right now.
Yeah. I think that that's where, I mean, I can't even fathom the idea of having a friend, even of the opposite sex currently. I want nothing to do with anybody, any male figure except for Jesus. I'm very open and honest with God. I'm like, I don't know how to tell if it's you talking to me or not. Because I thought that was it for me. When I thought that you were telling me like, yeah, it's tough. It's not this fairy tale romance that you dream about when you're a little girl. But I thought that that was it, and now sitting here, I don't know. What I feel like he's telling me is just hide away for the time being. Just focus on me.
Big part of that, I mean, because I think about this with how Jalen and we were in the same boat, is God's never going to ask you to do something that he specifically lays out is not in his plan for you. So, like living with somebody, acting as a married couple before you're married, he's never going to ask that of you. As much as it feels like this is right, I think it's very hard because I can convince myself of a lot of things. Your mind is very powerful. If I have a desire, I'm like, okay, I'm going to get it done.
Right.
And then, like, all these obstacles come up, and I'm like, I don't know why these obstacles are here, but I'm going to tackle them. It doesn't matter. I can do anything. And most of the time, I'm pretty successful, but that doesn't make it God's plan for me. Just
Right.
because I'm really stubborn doesn't make it God's plan. And I think that's the big key, is recognizing God wouldn't ask you to do something that he isn't okay with, you know? And I
Or there's no like game to try to figure out
yeah.
what God wants for you, because sitting there and when we had this exact conversation, it's okay, well, we know we are going to get engaged and I've already seen the ring and we're going to get married and, all of this is planned. But then in the meantime, there's just these obstacles that we have to go through. And God's like, I didn't make a board game out of marriage. There's not like a real obstacle course you have to go
Mm-hmm.
through to get to what I designed. And that's heartbreaking, but it also, I think, clarifies a lot because then when you read or when you move forward or you're praying, then you just start to focus in. I guess I don't know how to know it's you and not me convincing myself of something. But every verse that I've been reading lately is about, okay, well, there's more that you're going to have to focus on later. But if you don't have that strong foundation of focusing on God first, you're going to get overwhelmed and you're going to get in the same boat again, where it's
Mm-hmm.
like everything else is more consuming and more important than me. And that's not what he wants at all. So now I just feel like all I need to do is calm down. I don't need to become a theologian overnight,
Mm-hmm.
but just do what I've been doing and he'll direct me where I need to go, I think. And that didn't all come out of the last 2 weeks, that's come from when we've started being more vocal about our faith on this, or having conversations with Jake about faith as he's growing in his too, because I was a believer before him. I compromised on things that I knew weren't what God wanted a lot sooner than he did. So when you sit there and you think, you're like, okay, I've done things my way for a while, so maybe we should just calm down and actually try to do it the way that you have talked about from the beginning.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, what's crazy is that Jalen and I had that conversation of, there was one point that I felt really convicted and I brought it up, and there was another point that he felt convicted and he brought it up, of us, pretty much being married every day and not being married. But I mean, I was ready to get married. He was not ready to get married for obvious reasons. But like, we had that conversation of, like, we both know that this isn't really what was planned for us, and we both know that we grew up being taught this is not okay. But we always came back to that excuse of, like, well, we're going to get married anyway, so what does it matter? We're going to be married anyway. But we had no, you can't follow through on that when you don't know your future, even if you think you know. And it's kind of like, I know that Sadie Robertson's, well, she preached at her conference about, um like, just because your sin is comfortable doesn't mean that it's okay. I think I sent it to you. But I mean, yeah, I think so many of us live in that space, and it's such a dangerous place to be.
Well, I think too, which again, you got to take things that you see with a grain of salt. But there's people that you follow, let's say on Instagram, or people in real life that are your friends and they're living together too. And they're like, okay, well, I believe in God. And then they do get married. And it does happen. And they do have kids. And it's this big,
Oh,
beautiful,
I'll just do that.
you go, okay, well, if it works for them, it must work for me. I don't know the reason. I can't explain it. I don't know why he allows the follow through on some things and then on things like this he doesn't. I don't know why. I just know that from what I know, this is the right decision, as painful as it is.
Yeah, when you text me about what was going on, like the first time, you didn't tell me you guys had separated, but you just said, like, things have kind of changed and just pray for me. I remember just laying there. I was really mad, but I was like, you know what? Take my bias out of it, because I'm always going to be protective over you, obviously. And I prayed for the both of you. And I just said, whatever you want from them, like, just give them the strength to make the hard decisions. Like if this is not supposed to end up how they want, or if it is, like help them have the strength to make the hard decisions. And I prayed for you, and I also prayed for him. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it's any easier when it's mutual.
No, I
But I
don't think
do
so.
just, at the end of the day, want the best for you. And I don't know what that means or what it looks like, but
No, I don't. I do not either.
unfortunately, we are in the same boat at this particular time.
I don't know what the future looks like at all. I don't know where I'm going to end up. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know anything about it. But I do know that even losing what feels like the greatest loss I've ever experienced in my life so far, it hasn't shaken my faith in the character of God. It's made me reflect a lot on myself and be like, I don't think that we were making holy decisions. That's hard to sit there and face. And I think it's hard, but also very mature thinking to be like, okay, I did things that now have consequences. I chose to compromise on certain things that I knew were going to be a dead end. And this is just how they've dead ended for the time being, and that doesn't have anything to do with God and him not being fair or nice or any. It's
Mm-hmm.
just sitting there going, okay, you made decisions that were disobedient, and now it's okay. Let's restart and let's pick back up and let's figure out what we're supposed to do now. And I think that's where a lot of sadness comes from. It's like thinking back on, man, I wish if we had done things differently, maybe it would have been harder then, but maybe it would have been better now. And it's just delaying that process of breaking it now when it was so much closer and so much deeper and heavier. It's just very.
Yeah. Not that this will make you feel better, but I'm having my own mental crisis this month
Why?
of like, well, my job was going really well and I liked where I was at and I love my apartment. And now I'm in this place where I'm like, I hate my job. I still love my apartment, but I just have no one. Like, I literally don't have a friend. I have family that lives like 30 minutes away, but our lives are very different. So I'm like always driving either to see family or friends multiple hours, like 3 hours
Right.
minimum,
Right.
one way. And I'm just like, I prayed and prayed and prayed for this. I prayed to go to Kansas City. I prayed for my job. I prayed for this apartment that I just felt like fell into my lap. But it all happened very quickly. And I just was like, oh, this is a gift from God. And I just went for it. And now I'm like, maybe this was all a big mistake. Because I hate my job right now. Hate it. Like, loathe going to work every day. And I don't know. I just feel like I'm being pulled in so many other directions, like emotionally, mentally. I have so many different desires on my heart than I did back in October, September.
I say, I knew something was off. Not that you didn't want to be in Kansas City anymore, but when you text me like, okay, let's go plot our land, and
I've enjoyed it and I've met people, but not like lasting friendships with people.
yeah,
And my work is just so negative and toxic. And like for a while, I was like, you know what? You're going to walk in and you're going to be Jesus and you're going to be the person that kind of picks things up. And I
and then
wasn't.
you go, there's a reason Jesus was Jesus, and I am Brooklyn.
Yes, ma'am. Because there is no sunshine that is picking this place up. There's no healthcare is not doing well.
Yeah,
Not doing well
which is
from
crazy.
any aspect.
Which is crazy to think that that's the industry that is so laborious and so draining.
All of that just to say, I feel kind of in the same boat of like, I don't know. I don't know what he wants me to do. I don't know what I should do. I don't know. Like, I even was at the point where I was like, should I just move back home? Like, is this whole having knee surgery, being back home? Do I just need to come back home for a little bit? And I don't know. I don't know what to do.
I wish I wasn't in the same boat, and I wish that you weren't either.
I live in a great area and I live where any 20 something year old would love to live, but I don't get to enjoy any of it. Like, I try to, but it's hard to do that when you're by yourself, you know? Like,
Right. Well, I think that's a huge part of, I don't know, because I'm in such of the same boat. Like, I still really love my job. I don't make any kind of money doing it, but I make enough to, eventually get whatever van I can end up finding. But I truly feel like I want very little in terms of, like, I always thought I was gonna grow up being a city person, and this is probably a great example of why we didn't get married and have kids young, because the way that we think now is completely different from how it was even 3 or 4 years ago at 22, 23. Especially downsizing with what I want to do and where I want to go, and to be able to be mobile. I don't want to put a lease down on an apartment or have something that's stuck for the time being. Like, I want
mhm.
to be able to figure out and go where I'm supposed to go, because I don't think it's here long term. I do think it's out somewhere simple, away from a lot of city or noise, or I love that life, and I thought I would shake kind of out of that. I feel like everybody and their mom kind of switched over to wanting to start a homestead, and wanting to be out in the mountains or have land, or simplify their life.
Yeah.
It really does feel like that's how we're supposed to live, instead of so much constant and noise and things. Like, even packing up the car to bring things over to my parents, I was like, I don't need half of this. And I threw like half of it to donations. I don't want a ton now. I want to be where it's quiet enough that I feel like I can hear God outside, which is a crazy thing to think about, not having any money to proceed with any of those plans.
No, and it's like, how do I do anything? I don't make enough money to get
And I
ahead.
go,
I've
and
got
I'm
student
like,
loans. I've got this. I've got that.
in the genie in the bottle, three grant three wishes part of my mind, I'm like, you could just make like the podcast. We could just do this full time and do a remote and get paid, and
Get
then I
there.
could go out into freaking, I don't even know, the middle of nowhere, Wyoming, and maybe Northern California, or somewhere where it's easier to breathe, and maybe I could start that. But then it's just sitting there and it's going, okay, just, if it's not yet, just wait on it. It's okay to be confused, and it sucks being confused, and it sucks being tired and feeling like you're not
Mhm.
where you're supposed to be, or not even have an idea of where you think you're supposed to be. Like, you can't even be disappointed that you're not somewhere if you don't know where that somewhere is that you're supposed to be.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know. I'm right there with you. I have no idea what's going on. I'm just here. I don't know what to do. If you could give me like a red flashing sign, that'd be awesome. If you could drop like $1 million in my lap, I won't ask any questions.
If you could make my Texas Lotto scratch just be the right
Yeah,
number,
give me the right numbers, Lord.
help me with my gambling. I would just want to buy a horse, you
Yeah,
know?
just give
Like,
me a house. That's all I
yeah,
want.
just buy like a little acreage somewhere. You know how expensive land is right now? All
Yeah,
from
I was
cutting hair and
looking.
making people pretty.
I was looking at land last night
I
online.
know. I was looking at land in Hawaii. We
Girl,
know.
that's dreaming big.
I know, but you know what? They were selling, like, I think it was 20 acres, and it had four different, I wouldn't call them houses. I would call them like Hawaiian houses, right? Like, not brick and mortar, but just very simple, livable, really just cute little houses. And it was like $500,000, which is like a lot of money, but not for Hawaii. I know, but not for Hawaii, for land for 20 acres in Hawaii.
Listen, I was looking at land here in the what's it called? The congruent states. Is that what it's called?
What?
You know, the states that are all together, not across the ocean.
Continental.
Is that the word?
Continental states. gonna Google it right now. I said it really confidently for it to not. Yeah, continental states.
Congruent is same size, same shape. Okay, you know what I meant, right?
There's another word, contiguous, I think, that means the states that touch each other without bodies of water in between them. So I think that's
what's that
the
word?
word you were.
What's the word?
Contiguous.
Contiguous?
Contiguous.
That's
CONTIGUOUS.
Where the hell did I get congruent?
I don't know.
I don't know. But anyway. I was looking for landlocked states. You know, like Utah. I mean, they've got whatever.
I don't think I could ever live in Utah.
Kind of was considering it, though.
I don't think I could ever live in Utah for the Mormons. Which sounds ridiculous, but I just don't think I could do it. I saw this video today and I was like, where is that? Like, that has to be Wyoming or Northern California or even like Colorado, Utah.
It's not just Mormons. There's more people.
No, I know. I just. I'm sorry.
We love Mormons.
What I feel.
You know what I found out? You can send a Jehovah's Witness to anyone's house.
Really?
Yes. And I was like, I'm going to send a Jehovah's Witness to house every day.
I don't think I'd like. You know where I really want to go though? I think I would live in Northern California in a heartbeat if it wasn't so expensive.
Yes.
Like the financial
aspect.
The financial aspect and just some of the like government kind of policies and taxes and that kind of thing. I don't think I could ever reasonably like convince myself to do it when there are just as beautiful places for a cheaper price tag. But Northern California, oh my goodness, especially like the coastal little towns with like mountains in the distance.
It's so pretty.
Oh my lord, it is gorgeous.
Yeah, I was looking at land, but it was like 40 acres for like 80,000.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, that I could do. But then you have to factor in like, is there electric available? Do you have to put in your own plumbing?
Like, would
you have to get your own water source? Like, that stuff is expensive.
Not to mention all the animals that I want to keep and just their upkeep in general. You know how expensive it is to run cattle? You know how expensive it is to maintain one horse?
Very much. Very much.
You know how expensive it is to take care of just my dog? I want us to take a girls' trip to Hawaii at some point. I don't know if it's going to be this year or not, but...
We need to do a girls' trip. I'm going to Colorado with my aunt and uncle. I don't know if you want to join. You're probably more than welcome. We're going at the end of May like 29th through June.
Maybe if I have a van, I'll meet you out there.
4th, we're going to do the Maroon Bells Pass. It's like a 4-day backpacking trip.
Oh, fun.
It's going to be so fun. But you can't bring your dog. So I can't bring Sam. Sam's got to stay with my parents. But it's just like, you know, in case you encounter a bear, your dog doesn't get you killed.
Way to pop my bubble. What is it? You need to learn your bear call for any black bears.
Hey, bear. Hey, bear.
What kind of bear? Do they have all bears in Colorado? Is that a dumb question?
I think they just have black bears.
Just black bears? They don't have brown bears?
Unless you go to, like, northern Colorado. But even then, I don't really think they have brown bears. I think it's a lot of black bears. I don't know.
What is it? If it's black, fight back. If it's brown, lay down. And if it's white, good night.
Girl, if it's brown and you lay down, have a nice life.
Night-night. Lights out.
You're done. The only bear I'm not scared of, I mean, I'm still very scared of, don't get me wrong, a black bear, but they're much more like, you let them know you're there. They're kind of like, oh, I see you, cool, go separate.
I think for the most part, brown bears, though, I mean, still lay down, don't do anything, but unless they have their cubs with them, I think for the most part, they don't go out of their way.
I'm telling you, if I see a brown bear, I am not laying down.
No, just like hide.
I ain't never seen nobody
just
laying down.
You know, just like incognito. You know, but that's how he survived in
You
the
just hold real still.
Yeah.
Did they see you? If they didn't see you,
right, hide.
don't even blink.
If I can't see them, they can't see me.
But if they saw you, it's a whole different story. How close are you? Are they coming at you? Are they not coming at you?
Can you
And the
imagine?
whole bear belt thing is stupid. Don't wear a bear belt.
Can you imagine how big? Like, I know black bears are like relatively like 6 feet, 5, 6 feet, like smallish
Yeah,
for a
brown
bear.
bears? You want to talk
But
about a
brown
10-foot
bear,
bear coming at you?
I don't know about 10 foot. I was thinking like 7 or 8 feet tall, but just having it stand next to you with a claw the size of your face. I'm gonna look up how tall brown bears get.
I think the tallest one ever was 13. I could be totally wrong.
We're a little bit off. They're a lot smaller actually than I thought. They get anywhere from 5 to 7 feet, but they can get up to 9 feet when standing on their hind legs.
The tallest Kodiak bear ever was 10 feet tall. I was off. Isn't that funny how we started this podcast and now we're looking up the height of bears? I don't know. The first time I ever saw a bear, I was at church camp and she had 2 cubs with her.
Well, that's not good.
Yeah, but there was like hundreds
That's
of
really
people.
not good.
We were walking up the mountain to go back to our camp in the middle of the night, and they were like,
That's not
"Hey,
good.
be careful, y'all! There's a mama bear with 2 babies."
Hey, bear.
Hi there.
Hey, bear.
But the whole night, I was like,
You're like, there's a mama bear out there with her cubs. Bears and sharks have my respect. One on land, one in the water.
Anything in the water has my respect. I am terrified. A little crab, terrified.
I can't wait to go back to Hawaii just to try to surf again. I need like a month or two, like extended long stay.
Let's say we have a girls' trip to Hawaii. You're gonna be out there surfing. I'm gonna be on the beach with some binoculars, like
That's
twirl a
fine.
horn at you. Like, good job.
That's
Okay.
fine.
She made it up. Okay, great. Good job.
Because you know what? If there must be one on land, if there is one in the water, just in case.
Yeah, and I'll just firmly plant my butt in the shallow end.
And then afterwards, we'll go get some poke
Yes.
from a food truck.
And some those fun little snow cones with the stuff, the coconut milk. You know what I'm talking about?
I do, but I don't know what
I don't know what they're called either. They're good.
The food in Hawaii was so good. If you lived in Hawaii and you were able to go out and spearfish or go fish every single day for the most part, and then at least bring back like a week's worth of food, that cuts down on your expenses quite a bit because food's expensive in Hawaii. And you get the beach, you get the mountains, you get cowboys, you get everything. You get fresh seafood.
And I won't be this pale.
And you get sunshine. And you save on a wardrobe because you can just walk around in a swimsuit all the time.
All the time. You don't even need clothes. Who needs clothes?
You just need some pants and maybe a rain jacket because it sprinkles every now and then.
Maybe that's what I need to do.
If you move to Hawaii, I swear I'm dropping everything and I'm bringing honey and we're coming with you.
I can look.
Dude, it's like a whole
You're
different
gonna
world.
catch me on Indeed tonight. Hawaii.
I know. Hawaii jobs. You know, the Maui Humane Society is out there.
You know what? My mom and I talked last time we went to Hawaii, and we were like, being a homeless person in Hawaii may not be that bad.
It's got to be one of the best options that there is.
Because they have, like, public showers.
Yeah, and the weather's pretty much great all the time unless there's a tropical storm.
Yeah.
And then you're kind of, in the deep water with no boat. But
I could be a beach bum in Hawaii. Maybe get,
that's, I think, okay, so that's another, it's very different, right? Like simplifying, let's be honest, building a homestead in Idaho or Montana or wherever, that's expensive. Like that's not simplifying your life to the point where I can survive on like a paycheck and call it good. Like you need, that's a very authentic way to live, but you need funds to do that. So we're going to need to make bank on this podcast at some point. The thing in Hawaii is you still need to make money, obviously, because it's so expensive. But because everything is so expensive, that lifestyle is very much appreciate what you have in terms of nature. Go outside, explore the outdoors. It's not materialistic in a lot of senses. Obviously, the touristy parts are. But I thought about dropping everything and going out and just finding a job in Hawaii and staying there for 6 months and then figuring it out. Rent would be close to probably $3,000 every month. But between the two of us.
We would make it. We would make it work.
Are you kidding me? We're getting a studio. You can have that corner, I'll have this corner.
This recording is like, wow, we're stuck
This-
and we're not happy.
This has
And
trailed off. Can you believe that our first recording this year was about grief?
I know how oddly
How
fitting.
oddly serendipitous in a I don't even know what I'm trying to say, in like a in a not ironic, but
It's a little ironic.
I guess, sure. How serendipitous in an ironic way.
Yes. I know. I was like, I'm gonna be so negative and bring this into the podcast.
I know, and then
We
who
needed it.
knew that a week later
We need it.
I'd be sitting there going, okay, this is painful. This hurts.
Yeah. And that's why we haven't recorded in weeks, because we had a lot of stuff going on, okay?
We're the worst. Oh, we're the worst. It's okay though.
Well, I'm sorry. Sorry that you're on this journey.
Yeah.
I don't know what the other side looks like, but I know that there will be another side. I don't remember what we were talking about before, but
We're at 2 hours and 20 minutes, and I don't even think we have. I think we have like a solid hour and 15, maybe.
it's fine. We'll just upload the part where we talk about bears. How tall is bear?
We're like, we want to build a homestead. How tall are bears?
God, I didn't think about like you have to protect your livestock.
No, you just need dogs for that. You just need some Pyrenees. Those things will go to war.
I guess so. Didn't think about that. What are we gonna talk about next week?
I have no idea whatsoever. Like, not even an inkling.
Yeah, I'm gonna be back at my apartment this week by myself. Sam's staying here for another week. She's a spoiled little diva.
I know, I need to feed my little diva.
I just need some happy things in life, which you need some happy things in life too.
I know.
Is it you said the dog shelter is like 5 minutes from you?
No, now it's 40.
It was just like 10 minutes away before.
Yeah, it was like 5 minutes. I was used to going to the house and just cooking and letting the dogs out and then going back. And
So sorry to bring that up. I didn't mean to. What time do you go?
I start at 8, so I'll have to leave at 7, which means my plan is to get up at 5 every morning. And then the way, like, driving home every night is going to be so annoying because it goes straight down 407, which is just light after light after light after light after light the whole way. So what is going to map as 35 to 40 minutes will probably take an hour every single night at like 5 o'clock.
And you'll have so much time to pray.
I'll have so much time to pray.
Yeah.
So much time to pray.
Right?
It's very true. Good point.
Be annoyingly optimistic. Gotta try to search for the little golden nuggets in every terrible opportunity.
You're going to have so much time to pray. You said it so instantly.
There's so much time to pray.
You have so much time to talk to the Lord, vent out your frustration for the day,
Oh, that'd be great.
put a smile on your face before you get home to honey.
Yeah, you know? I'm very good at trying to find golden nuggets in other people's lives, but when it comes to my own, I'm like, I'm sad and everything's terrible. Like, I hate my job. I hate my beautiful little home in my perfect little spot. Meh. What a baby. You should have been like, suck it up, Brooke.
No, it's okay. I get it. I feel lost too. I feel lost, but I feel like I have at least a direction. Kind of. I don't know what the direction, I don't know where the direction's going, but for the most part,
There's
there's a road, I think.
an opportunity, you know?
I think. I think.
Yeah, there's at least like a parking space that leads to a road that could go in a direction.
There's at least, there's a sidewalk that the car could be parked next to that could turn into a road that leads to a highway.
I don't know what else to add to today. It's just kind of a weird day. We just had some life updates, that's all.
I promise it's gonna be. You could listen back on this though and be like, that was a good episode, you know? I don't think so. But you could. Anything's possible.
Maybe there's a silver lining in there that we just. I think the bear segment will really go far.
My goodness.
Okay, go bye. Go
I love you.
food. I love you too.
Love you. Stop. Do I exit? We haven't done this in a while. Do I exit or do you need to stop the recording?
I don't know.